This is Madam Speaker, and we're asking what is the truth and the scale of Eskom's problems and what next. Let's bring Ronald Chauke back in. Sigunati was talking about, and I've heard this often actually, that there is talent inside Eskom, the engineers, the staff inside are not being asked, not being brought on board with this turnaround or recovery plan. Well, what are your thoughts on that?
Yes, that's true. Even from us, from out there, we were surprised actually to hear that we have to import skills, while South Africa has got capable technical people to resolve the situation at Eskom, as long as they are empowered and allowed to do the right thing within Eskom. And I just want to quickly also go to the ESI unbundling.
Okay.
That process on its own, I want to assure the Labour side that that process is likely to take a very long term, because it's policy driven. When you talk about unbundling,
5 years is what we're hearing.
Actually, 5 years, it can be part of the preparatory work. It involves a lot of work. I was part of the policy development process of the ISMO bill. I was influencing that process from inside the Ministry of Finance and when I joined the energy regulator. It's a very, very intensive policy, process that we don't need even to worry about jobs now. The important thing now which we need to deal with is for appropriate leadership to pull together the different sectors around one table and say, South Africans, here is the crisis that we are having. How do we fix the crisis?
They're not talking to each other enough.
Unfortunately, this silo mentality and then people thinking that political leadership can just impose is another problem, because a political solution cannot fix technical problems.
Lauren, we're hearing,
to do it right.
I'm going to bring Lauren back in. We're hearing of just how long this unbundling process can take. Your thoughts on this?
So I think, okay, well, 2 points. So to the first point that was raised earlier on about the fact that we don't have a detailed plan of exactly how this unbundling is going to unfold, and then to connect that to what you've just heard, until we have that very detailed plan, we can't even begin to guess. I mean, we know it can take about 5 years for everything to be fully implemented, but it could take longer. What I think is absolutely critical, and this goes back to the point that was made earlier about the sort of lack of clarity, is that every single country that has gone through this process has had to adapt this process to the local context, and has certainly had to had very robust processes to bring various stakeholders on board to make sure that everybody's interests are reflected in the plan, and also particularly that vulnerable interests, people who are going to lose their jobs, for example, and other parts of the economy that are going to be impacted are fully taken into account. What I think is critical at this point is not only that we have a beautiful policy, which we've had before. South Africa has many amazing policies that lie unimplemented because they're not worked out in the process of actually taking action.
Yeah, we do have.
I think what is critical is that we're going to have to see some action very soon, and that action is going to be on the basis of robust stakeholder engagement to make sure that, again, the most vulnerable among us are in fact protected in that.
And I think Lauren's referring to that 1998 white paper. Go ahead, Mike. I know that you're dying to get back in.
It was abandoned, that 1998 paper, because it was not feasible that time. We don't know why somebody today thinks that paper is feasible today. That's number one. Number two, we've got the load shedding today. If you unbundle it today or after 5 years, will it stop the load shedding? No. That's not the solution South African wants. Solution South African wants is to say, how do we keep the lights on today, not the unbundling. Thirdly, all we know is that unbundling is going to lead into job dislocation, into putting some aspect of Eskom into private hands, something that we will not agree. Lastly, the Italian guy that is supposed to be an expert, I don't know, Iman, if you remember a guy called Colin Andrews from SAA, whom when he left here, we paid 230 million. He was supposed to be the person who's supposed to turn SA into a very great institution. He imported people from outside, American consultants. He imported appointed American executives. He didn't groom anybody in the country. Today we have got SAA as it is, having brought an external expert. So our view is that
you're saying this is an uncomfortable echo.
It's uncomfortable, and
thing.
Eskom has produced, not only has produced and trained good engineers that can turn Eskom around. So we don't think why we must go to Italy to get people to turn around Eskom when we've trained so many people here in the country.
Thank you, Mike. Hillary, we're looking for a fix, and we're trying to make sense of everything that's put on the table.
Let me just make 2 points, and I agree with my colleague here that keeping the lights on for now is the most urgent priority. So one relates to skills. I think the stuff about, we can do it all ourselves is nonsensical. Globally, all the evidence is that you need to bring in skills for fresh know-how. And I don't think we should be precious about skills. Eskom's lost a lot of skills since 2014, and even if it hasn't, Eskom and the country could do with an infusion of foreign skills.
Machela Koko, just to let you guys know, I've got about 2 minutes left, so I'll give you half.
Iman, let's deal with the state capture. If you look at the technical performance indicators of Eskom, they were the best. However you look at it, 2015, 2016, 2017, those are the so-called years of state capture. The energy availability factor, the capacity for Eskom...
What made it possible, do you think, then? In a short answer, what made it possible?
Because we focused and took the politics out of the business. From 2000 till 2015, the plant performance was deteriorating. 2015, we picked it up. Take coal. The coal prices for Eskom was increasing 17% year on year from 2008 to 2015. In the year of the so-called state capture, 17% year on year was below inflation. 2015, 3.5%. 2016, 3.8%. How on earth would the technical performance of Eskom be better off in the year of state capture? It's irrational. You can't say we had state capture and yet the plant performance, operational performance is the best ever. Rubbish.
I'll give the final word to you then.
Iman, I can't allow the people of South Africa to be misled and be lied to by Machela, who is not known to tell the truth at all. Actually, he's the one man I can sleep peacefully having told him he's lying right now. Eskom was subjected to load shedding daily in 2015, 2014. Machela Koko was head of generation.
You lie.
And was head of...
it's wrong. I was not the head of generation in 2015. He's lying.
He is going to also deny that he ever worked for Eskom.
No.
Because we know Machela. He will not
allow him to
lie to the people of South Africa.
The head of generation in 2015 was Teva Gavenda.
And who was the head of technology?
And
who was the head of procurement? Who wrote letters firing South Africans from their company, giving coal and contracts to companies that could not deliver?
Have you taken that?
It was one Machela Koko.
I think that...
No, but you cannot, Iman, you cannot allow Sikonati to put allegations that he's not prepared to take to the law enforcement agencies or to the Zondo Commission. It's nonsensical. If you think there is criminality,
every bit of evidence,
he goes to the Zondo Commission,
I'm up
he
against
goes
the
to the
clock.
state capture.
Unfortunately, I hope that we've said enough to give us things to think about, and I'm going to have to pause the conversation there. What I will say is, whatever the case may be, we need distinct accountability, and we are promised that. We know that power provision is what empowers our economy. Those in charge have only one chance to make this right, or a darkness of another kind may descend over our country. Thank you for watching.